Hello, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us. Welcome to the first in the series of our vlogs called Generations in Workers' Compensation. This is a monthly series of short videos tackling really important subjects in our industry, but looking at it from the perspective of three generations. I'm Molly Callan, VP of Business Development at the IMA Group. My background's in case management, and you could call me a seasoned career professional. I've been doing this about 30 plus years, but I want to introduce you to our team. First is Yasmin Tayeb. She is early in her career in the industry, and she is currently an adjuster at Berkeley Southwest, and she's been there for 5 years. Next is Brandy Lewis. She is mid-career, and she is chairwoman of Health Plus Trans. And last but not least is Danielle Lisenby. She's a seasoned career person like me, and she's currently doing consulting work, but she was the previous CEO at MedRisk and CEO at Broadspire. So welcome, ladies. So let's get into it. Today's topic is going to be attracting talent in our industry. Next time, we're going to talk about retaining talent in our industry, the two separate kinds of issues. So today we're talking about attracting talent. So I'm going to ask each of you for your thoughts briefly, and then we're going to roundtable it with everybody together at the end with a couple different questions and issues. So let me go ahead and start with Danielle. Danielle, do you want to share with us some of your thoughts about attracting talent in our industry?
Sure. Thanks, Molly. Thanks. Being one of the seasoned people on the call today, we've had our trials and tribulations, I think, of attracting talent. We have seen those ebbs and flows, and I think we're on a flow, not an ebb or whatever, vice versa. And we've got a lot of work to do. But real quick, things that I feel from my experience, ways to attract talent, is I think we need to do a better job to promote the purpose and highlight our industry impact, especially with the next generations coming up. And I can't wait to hear from Yasmin. Is there's some really great things we do, and we do not highlight those to really make people understand how much we impact a person or a family's life at a really critical junction in their lives, right? So I think that's one. I think that would attract more talent. The other thing is career advancement. Let's all be serious here. We got two seasoned veterans on here. We're going to ride off into the sunset here. We got a lot of people retiring in our industry, right?
Great.
So this is a huge opportunity, I think a significant opportunity for growth for those either like Yasmin 5 years in, or even Brandy, who's mid-career, that's seeing a lot of change to really just blossom and grow. My third one, and I have four, my third one is really technology integration and continuous improvement. Now, we've seen some, I joke that I think we still have green screens somewhere around in our industry, but we have seen some movement in technology advancement. And we all know, because I see it in my grandkids, they never lived without technology, right? So it comes so second nature to them. Why wouldn't they be ideally suited to really help this industry evolve from a technology perspective? And the last but not least is collaboration and network. We are a relation-based industry. It's all about the relationships, right? It's about the mighty community. And that really resonates with folks, but I don't care what generation you are, and the ability to collaborate and network. So really honing in on that with people so that we can build and advance those skills and really let folks know that we're out there for each other. So those would be my four ways to attract talent.
I think it's great. And I really like how you talk about, Danielle, about highlighting the positive things that we do. We really do make an impact on people. And it's not just on catastrophic injuries, it's on slip and falls, it's shoulder, back injuries. We really interface with the injured worker, the family, and that's a lot of what we do as case managers as well. But certainly everybody that are stakeholders on our team, it's really important to, and when I speak to people, I always thank the crowd, especially if it's industry, because I don't think we get thanks. We don't offer the gratitude for everything that we do and recognize people for all their contributions. So that was a really great point. Thanks for sharing. So now I'm going to move on to the mid-career person. Brandy, you want to share with us your thoughts on attraction?
Yes, absolutely. The talent issue is real, and it's important and it's critical. There is a huge gap between what executives' perceptions of what their people need and what the employee perception of what their companies should do to support them. To close the gaps, companies need to take a more human-centric approach with particular focus on addressing employees' physical and emotional well-being, giving workers a sense of purpose and meaning on their day-to-day routine and activities. Also creating trust and a positive work environment and fostering that in the workplace. When you think about it, compensation has a part to play in it, but that does not solve the problem. There's not a strong link between compensation levels and attraction over extended periods. Organizations, they can pay well, but if they still have a poor culture, and typically they continue to lose talent if they have a poor culture, no matter how much they're getting paid. So I think that for us, as we go through this, we really we really need to look at the problem itself. And I think that support is a big piece of it. And also looking inside your organization versus looking outside your organization. Why not build up some people that have the thirst, have the hunger, want to grow, want to evolve, but just need that support within the organization to be more skilled in whatever setting. And I think that, coaching is a big piece of it. I think that also, going to your people and having these type of conversations. Okay, we know where you are, but where do you want to be? Where do you see yourself in the next 10 years? And how can I foster your growth? These are questions that, if you ask a question, typically people will respond with a truthful answer. So I think that these are some of the strategies that we could utilize in the future to attain, better talent. And, when you think about the shortfalls of not retaining the talent, I mean, you're losing out in customer service, and you're also probably losing out in compliance. So being able to, feed your growth from within is going to help your organization all across the board.
Yeah.
I
Well said.
agree. Very well said. Yeah, and I really
Thank
like
you.
what you said about, the culture, and it's not about the dollars. And certainly in a minute, we're going to ask Yasmin to speak about it, because a lot of people in her generation, we saw this during, the Great Resignation. A lot of people are saying it's not the dollars for me. I'd rather stay home. It's about finding somebody that has a great culture, that supports their workers, that offers great benefits and thinks outside the box. So I think that was a really important point that you made. So well
And
said.
I would like to just add to that there are 6.5 million unemployed workers right now in the United States.
Wow.
And companies they're all struggling to fill different roles. What can we do to attract talent? And we have 6.5 million potential candidates out in the pool looking for work.
Yep, staggering number. Well, now we're all bated breath waiting to hear from Yasmin from the younger perspective, your thoughts, and since you've been in the industry 5 years, but your thoughts about attracting talent in the industry. What do you think?
Yes. So, like I said, I've been doing work comp for 5 years. And when I was initially as a student just looking for jobs, I would just join different organizations. I'd go to conferences, I'd go to career fairs. Now, even though that's like a different time space, now social media is growing. LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, just advertising on those platforms. AI is big, whether we like it or not, it's growing. Chat GPT, it's on Snapchat. Even if you haven't add AI as a content, it's on Snapchat. So it's growing. I think a lot of companies maybe are worried that maybe, AI might replace certain type of tentative jobs. But I think AI can really just eliminate those tasks and just help the worker do the tasks more efficiently. Honestly, for me, social media is pretty big. Networking, just networking with different type of people, like networking with you guys. Like I've learned so much, and I've just met you for a short period of time. So I'm very thankful for that. Um, Also, other rather than just going to conferences and following people on LinkedIn, go ahead and message them, follow up with them, even if you've met them years or months. Like just make that impression, and go ahead and don't like be afraid to ask, because honestly, people want to help. If you show soft skills, technical skills, people want to help. So I think networking is a big approach.
Yeah. And one thing I always talk about, I know in my industry, in the case management, I think where we really fail is promoting the career in schools. It
Yeah.
still
Agreed.
boggles my mind, right? It still boggles my mind. People don't know what case managers are, who we do. They think we're pharmaceutical reps at the appointment. They think we're
Yeah.
attorneys.
So
And
I learned
yeah,
that actually now by working. I didn't know that initially, honestly. There's a lot of terms, even if I'm getting an MBA in risk management, I am not going to learn that. It's all about experience, and it's all about just educating people. I think once you educate, especially students, like what Brandy is saying, the unemployment rate is a lot. It's honestly very sad, because you have very motivated people that want to work, but they just want to know the source. They want to know who to go to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think too, we were talking about like networking and conferences and LinkedIn, but my question is, those are people that already know who we are and kind of what we do in the industry. How do we get those bodies to even be aware of who we are, what workers' compensation is an industry? And again, I'm thinking a lot of it's in schools. A lot of schools have
Right.
career days and things like that. You would be surprised, guys, of how many nurses I meet in hospitals and other kinds of settings who I explain to them what case management is. They're like, what is that? Oh my gosh, I have young children. That would be a great career. So knowledge is power. I think we really need to get into the schools, and you can do it. If there's a school that's in your area, whether it's a high school or a community college or a college, and they have a risk management program, or if they have an insurance type of program, whatever, offer, hey, I would love to come in and talk a bit about my career and what's involved. Or if you come across people who are unsure of coming into the industry, and let me talk to you a little bit about our different industry and stuff. But yeah, I mean, Yasmin, that's a really strong point. I think that, education is key. And as Danielle had mentioned, we don't self-educate once we're in the industry,
True,
but then
true.
externally, but Work Comp College, I know, does a really great job of that. They're offering like different kinds of courses and certifications for people in the industry. But my point is, how do we get these people to even know and be aware? And I think it really starts with education.
I agree with you, and I agree with the high school component. But here's what I would challenge you. I would say even outside of risk management, because the risk management program, being the former CEO of a TPA, there's
Mhm.
one chapter on claims. That's
Yep.
it. So these guys aren't
Yeah.
going to become adjusters. It's more the guys that are either in business, liberal arts, criminal justice, especially like criminal justice, have great investigation skills, right? So they already
Mhm.
have this
Yeah.
skill, this tapper, this interest. So we need to tap outside the box that we're all kind of comfortable with. I think there's this vast, group out there that we're missing. But to your point, if we could start at the high school level to even teach people what we're about as they're making their career choices through college, and
Absolutely.
or if they're not going to go to college and want to go straight into our industry, here's ways that you can do it, whether it is adjusting, whether it is nursing, whether it is technology, whether it is customer service, you name it. There's so many outstanding avenues in our industry that we just don't do a good job promoting.
100%. And here's the proof. How many of you on this call got into workers' comp purely by either accident or by, just answering an ad? It wasn't like purposeful. I know that was that way for me. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. All of us. So it's not funny. It's an accidental career choice. How do we make it not an accidental career choice? It's by education. And I think
Great.
you're absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Great.
Well,
Great.
question to ask you guys. So attracting talent, as Brandy mentioned, as so many people are out of work now, is an issue in all industries, not just in our industry and workers' comp. So if each of you could boil it down to just one problem in our industry and a possible solution, what would that be? And I'll start back with Danielle. What do you think?
Yeah, as soon as we were talking about that question, I hone in on technology. I really do, right? I think there's such an opportunity for additional continuous improvement. So I just think that is a significant, like they always said to me, one thing, Danielle, what is it? It is around technology, and the technology goes in so many forms and avenues. Yasmin was talking about AI. I agree with you 100% that it can make the adjuster's life so much easier, which then makes you a better adjuster, because then you're spending that quality time with the end user, whether it's the family, the injured worker. So to me, there's just a huge door wide open around technology and continuous improvement. And with the generations coming up, that's what they're going to look for.
Yeah. And I think, we're going to do with that as a topic coming up as we were listening. But I think a lot of people in our industry are really nervous, as in many industries, are really scared about AI and what that's going to do to their jobs and other people's jobs in the industry. So I think it's a really important point. And the younger generation, this is what they're going to know. This is going to be their way
It's
of
going to be
doing
second nature for them.
things. Yeah. Brandy, if you had to boil it down, what would you say our biggest issue with attraction is in our industry?
Well, I would have to say probably listening, again, going back to listening to what the employees say, and how they feel about certain things. I would say probably number two is experimenting. Again, companies should be looking for flexible work arrangements, different ways of measuring employee contributions, and also measuring success. And then I would probably say number three, investing. Most companies, they need to invest on more learning and development programs to, hone in on employee skills and making sure that it's in line with the demands of the marketplace and also their roles. This gives them time to, take advantage of these different opportunities as they grow, they learn, they evolve, and they move up in the company. So for me, I think that, and that goes to what Danielle was saying about technology. Right now, technology, everybody wants to utilize technology trends, analyze, be analytical. So how do we get that maybe that adjuster that's been doing the same way for 20 years up to speed?
Yes.
How do we get that younger person that's coming in that's great with technology, but has poor people skills and would prefer to talk to their injured workers via email and never picking up the phone? I think that there has to be a delicate balance of training provided in order to have a positive outcome. I will say that one of the things that we are doing positive in the industry is we are moving forward kind of steadfast. I know, we talk about different organizations. With the Alliance, we are moving steadfast and mentoring and pairing and being able to get that younger version to talk to that older version and get some clear, key notes of how to be successful. So that's my 2 cents on that. But there is definitely a gap and we have to bridge it. And we have to do it together because together we're united. Alone we fall.
100%.
Yep, 100%.
Yep. Yasmin, what is your thought if you could boil it down to one thing that we don't do so great in our industry with regards to attracting talent?
So honestly, just taking claims as an example, not just work comp. Typically, people in claims have been doing this for a while and they're stuck. They're just like, okay, we don't want to move up, we don't want to change. For me, even if you have someone that has, not been doing this a while or has been doing this for a while, go ahead and invest in them, get some credentials, keep up with the technological trends, like not just doing the same process. Like change sometimes is scary, but it helps. Like what you're saying, we can focus more on customer service rather than doing tentative process. So I think keeping up with the online credentials and also matching a working environment. Now it's more hybrid. I don't think it's necessary to come to the office to do a same job where you can do it working from home and you can do a better job at and just focus on it.
Yep. Any closing thoughts from anyone? I think we've covered a lot here. And again, we're going to talk about retention the next session. So obviously training that we talked about, promoting from within, those are all things that help retain jobs in our industry for sure. So we'll definitely
helping people manage change, just like Yasmin said. I think if you listen to everything we all talked about, it is all about change. This industry is a wonderful industry, but we've done a lot of the same things for many years. In order to evolve, we've got to change, whether it is how we promote the impact we did, whether it's how we go after talent, like Yasmin said, how it's you handle technology, how you handle even just the work environment, the culture. So I just think change is the word.
And I would like to jump in and piggyback off of that. I think that knowledge transfer is imperative to success. I heard Yasmin say, oh, well, hey, we don't have to go into the office. I think that some of what is missing is because the older generation has so much knowledge. And how is that knowledge being transferred to the young generation if everybody is hybrid and you're not able, at least to one day out of the week, sit and listen to what your counterpart that has successfully done this for 20 years, some of her strategies and tools and tricks that she uses to successfully run her claims, no matter what space she's in. So I think that, again, that is really imperative, that transfer of knowledge, and we got to do better at that as well.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's something that we lost, when COVID is that peer-to-peer, coaching. An adjuster who was in a cubicle could overhear an adjuster next to her or him saying something about an injury and should go, oh, well, you went through that. People are less, willing to pick up the phone and call from a
Correct.
remote working situation. So totally agree. And that's why the mentoring programs that we talk about are so important, especially now since COVID and people are working hybrid. So I think that's a really good point.
Yeah.
I want to thank you all. Thank you all out there in the audience for joining us. Again, we're going to talk next time about retaining talent in our industry. Feel free to reach out to any of us on LinkedIn. That's the platform where you'll see this vlog. And thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, ladies.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Take care.